Lindsey Graham now reveals the real reason why we are in Ukraine. And it's not about saving Western democracy or European freedoms. Pretty sure they're incarcerating their journalists and arresting people for social media posts. I thought that Russia was the one that did that to their own citizens. But we're watching the continuity of this war and Joe Biden escalating it. I've got another story here showing that he's now saying it's okay to use mines, which he said were not okay to use. He said he was not going to be using ATACMS. Now he's using those. So the problem is that Joe Biden has been rejected by the American people. His party has been told no. So why is he making these changes at the last minute? The story has been that it's about our allies and our friends in liberty, okay? But now we see Lindsey Graham, and we've known this for a long time, is telling us the truth. It's about resources and land and about, in this case, precious rare earth minerals.
Ukraine is still standing. This war is about money. People don't talk much about it. But you know the richest country in all of Europe for rare earth minerals is Ukraine. $2 to $7 trillion worth of minerals that are rare earth minerals, very relevant to the 21st century. Ukraine's ready to do a deal with us. So it's in our interest to make sure that Russia doesn't take over the place. It's the breadbasket of really the developing world. 50% of all the food going to Africa comes out of Ukraine. We can make money and have an economic relationship with Ukraine that'd be very beneficial to us with peace. So Donald Trump's going to do a deal to get our money back, to enrich ourselves with rare earth minerals, a good deal for Ukraine and us, and he's going to bring peace. And Biden's been a disaster when it comes to containing bad guys.
He is such a snake. It doesn't matter who's in charge. He's coming up with arguments to make the case that we should have war for Ukraine. Okay, when the Democrats are in charge and the Democrats are going to win, he plays to his audience. He's a lawyer. He knows what the jury is. He knows the makeup of the jury. Democrats are in charge. What's he ranting and raving about? Liberty and allies and Western democracy and stopping the encroachment of dictators and Putin and all that crap. The liberals love that crap because insurrection is very in vogue right now. They're into it, man. It's all they can talk about. Then Trump wins. Now what's he talking about? Mineral rights and rare earth metals. He's like, I know what Trump wants to hear. Let's go get our money. Let's go get paid. But we've already heard this stupid sales pitch before. They told us that in Iraq. The liberals were screaming, no war for oil, no war for oil. We were all saying, hey, how about we finance the war and all of our dead Americans, bringing peace to the Middle East, as they told us, which we all thought. I was in high school at the time. I'm like, yeah, we got attacked. We should go bring peace to the Middle East and democratize. So little did we know. And now we're telling us we're going to war and we're going to have allies over there and things are going to settle down. It was 20 years ago. Settle down now. It's worse than it's ever been. We're on the verge of World War III, multiple fronts. So he's going to try to sell this now as a rare earth minerals play. Okay, Lindsey, thanks for telling us the truth. Your position is war no matter what. We're going in there no matter what. Now, this, I think, is absolutely closer to the truth than protecting our Western allies or our Western Democrat friends or whatever they say to the people who have Tommy Robinson in prison. We're not that interested in Lindsey Graham's take because it's the same no matter what, no matter who wins. He just shifts his arguments because that's what he is, a shapeshifter. Now, here was another piece that came out from the Washington Post saying that Biden is now approving new munitional tactics like mines. He is undoing his own policy. He's reversing himself. Exclusive from the Washington Post. Said the move comes now as Russia advances in eastern Ukraine and is threatening to overwhelm frontline defenses. And so things are getting really spicy over there. It's not ideal. You can see Russia is also threatening the U.S. with nuclear war by Christmas. Okay. Chilling World War III warning. From Express US, Emily Wright wrote about this. A former spokesman for Putin is warned of nuclear war by Christmas after Ukraine was granted permission to fire the ATACMS, the long-range missiles. Saying, yeah, a chilling warning by Sergei Markov. Western allies, also including Britain and France, have taken, quote, a big jump towards a nuclear conflict by giving Ukraine permission to fire long-range missiles into Russia. A regular Putin mouthpiece Markov warned that the shock move by Biden could mean that Britons could be facing a Christmas in shelters. The threat in an interview was on BBC's Radio 4, was also echoed by Trump's son, Trump Jr., who suggested that those behind the move to approve the use of these missiles, they wanted to make sure they got World War III before my father has a chance to create peace and save lives. Good statement from Don Jr. Is right. What are they doing? Why are they launching all of this at this 2 months? You're gone in 2 months, Joe. Joe Biden's move was welcomed by Ukraine, obviously. And they're like, yeah, perfect. If a nuclear bomb goes off, couldn't be happier. Oh, great. The whole world is now involved in our regional conflict. It now becomes global. As soon as there's one radioactive isotope floating around, everything changes. The move will allow Ukraine to fire ATACMS missiles. And now we're going to see mines are also coming in. Those in favor of the move have noted that the Kremlin and its mouthpieces had threatened nuclear war all the time, so they don't care. Oh, they always say they're going to nuke somebody, so who cares? All it takes is once. My reaction to the White House was awful. I couldn't sleep well because I'm just afraid nuclear war is coming, he said. The decision of the United States, Great Britain, and France is not a step towards nuclear war. It is a big jump towards nuclear war. It's towards nuclear catastrophe, he said. He said, I couldn't sleep well. I'm just afraid nuclear war's coming. Oh, great. He said, it's a dangerous decision, a very dangerous decision. The point is these rocket missiles cannot be fired by the Ukrainian army technically. So if they come in, we know it's not them. We know it's the U.S. because these rocket missiles need to have a very good map of the Russian territory. And only the U.S. has this map. Even Great Britain and France does not have this map. So we know it's you guys. He said that the target of the rocket missiles cannot be done by their army. It requires satellite intelligence the country does not have. So yeah, the Americans are going to be sending it to you guys. So we regard this as the start of a direct war by Britain, America, and France against Russia. So there you go. American rocket missiles against our territory. This is a clear escalation of the war. Now, asked if Putin would use nuclear missiles, Mr. Markov said, not now, and said it was more likely that bases in Eastern Europe could be hit by smaller tactical nuclear missiles. Could you imagine? Just one of them. But he added, I think Biden, Macron, and Starmer want escalation, which could lead to, my understanding, in the worst scenario, the nuclear war happens before Christmas of this year. I'm really hopeful that that does not happen. Worst case scenario, can the Russians just wait? Just hang on, guys, like 2 months. Just wait till Trump comes in. Don't let these maniacs wreck the planet. Probably you will not be able to say Merry Christmas because you will stay in the hole trying to hide away from the nuclear catastrophe. The war, they're not going to win the war, okay, Biden and Ukraine. Like, you're not going to beat Russia in these last 2 months by launching missiles in there. And I guess it's over. You secured a peace and Russia's signing a treaty and bending the knee. Zelensky wins, gets everything he wants. No, that's not going to happen in 2 months. So can you just stop? Biden's not going to stop. So can Putin, can you just be the actual leader in the room and just recognize that this is a floundering, panicky, pathetic party who's trying to instigate you? Just hang tight. Let the actual American president come in. Don't launch nukes. And then we'll come in and rectify this situation. Because that feels like exactly what's happening. Now, Joe Biden is also reversing himself. Why now would he be adding mines when for the last however many years he has not? He's saying now it's because Russia is escalating. He says he's authorized the provision of anti-personnel landmines to Ukraine, 2 U.S. officials said. That's going to bolster defenses. The move comes in the wake of the White House recent authorization that they can use now ATACMS. Russian President Vladimir has warned that Moscow will retaliate for these things. They've got wide ranges. Shipping anti-personnel landmines to Ukraine is also controversial because it's in a different group. More than 160 countries have signed an international treaty banning the use of mines, but not America and Ukraine, noting that the indiscriminate weapons can cause enduring harm to civilians, but Kyiv has sought them since Russia invaded 3 years ago, and the Kremlin's forces have deployed anti-personnel landmines liberally on the front, impeding Ukraine's process. So they're saying, we'll use them. If Russia's using them, we'll use them. The Biden administration is deeply concerned about their assaults, and the Pentagon believes that the provision of mines is going to be the most helpful steps that Biden can use to slow Russia's attack. Okay. Can we just call just a ceasefire, man, for 2 months? One official said that the type of anti-personnel landmine is non-persistent, meaning they self-destruct or lose battery charge to render them inactive within days or weeks, and so therefore they're not that dangerous to civilians. Now, the official said that policymakers had already committed to not deploying mines in populated areas, and it's just a lot of stuff is changing right now. Use of new mines would be limited to Ukrainian territory, they say. Russian forces have made significant advances in the Donetsk region, and in recent months have gained territory at the fastest rate since 2022. Ukrainian troops have struggled to build a strong defensive line, and so on and so forth. Neither Russia nor the United States is one of the parties to the Ottawa Convention that bans the mines, but everybody else is. So the U.S. can use them. I guess Ukrainians can use them. And things are getting hot over there. World War III, Vlad goes nuclear, threatens a nuclear response. The U.S. is now warning Kyiv. This one's fresh out of the oven here from ABC News. Says the U.S. Embassy in Kyiv today warns a potential significant air attack. Russia is now accusing Biden of seeking to prolong the war. They closed the embassy, saying that the Russians are just gearing up for some sort of air assault today. The embassy in Kyiv temporarily closed its doors on Wednesday out of an abundance of caution, saying there is a potentially significant airstrike that may be coming. Great. The embassy recommends U.S. citizens be prepared to immediately shelter in the event that an air alert is announced. There's what the embassy looks like. Saying that they received specific information about a potential strike today. The warning arrived amid fears that the war could escalate. A day after Ukraine's military actually did launch U.S.-made long-range ATACMS missiles, apparently using satellite imagery from the United States intelligence agencies, towards targets within Russia. Joe Biden gave them permission and also gave them permission to use mines. Russia's rattling the nuclear saber rattle, which is not good because it's a nuclear one, only has to go off once. And things are escalating there. Germany also planning for World War III. It's not good. When Germany starts planning for a world war, got to pay attention because of the last two. World War III, they've got a 1,000-page secret document calling it Operation Deutschland. Oh, great. Along with 800,000 NATO troops and 200,000 vehicles. Ready for season 3 of this? Great. It comes after Nordic citizens were told to prepare for war, and they were handed chilling survival guides on Monday as tensions between Russia and Ukraine boil over. Great. Operation Deutschland. Germany's drawing up plans for World War III. 800,000 NATO troops, 200,000 NATO vehicles, truck drivers, stockpiling for shortages, and so on. In recent weeks, North Korea sent thousands of troops to support Putin. Fears of war concerning spilling over into multiple countries. German armed forces have begun implementing Operation Deutschland. According to Frankfurter Allgemeine, the top secret papers reveal specific buildings and infrastructure facilities that need specific protection in the event of emergency. The report also contains plans on how Germany would proceed in the event of some kind of threat to defense or even tensions. The first meeting is taking place in the Hamburg Chamber of Commerce, where they talked about these things. They say 70% of all trucks on Germany's roads are driven by Eastern Europeans. Interesting. So if there's a war, where will these people be? Who's going to transport our food? Plans have been built in Germany across the year, with its defense ministry confirming in July that emergency plans to move hundreds of thousands of NATO troops would happen in the event of a war with Russia. It also suggested that Berlin was preparing to move 200,000 vehicles as well as 800,000 NATO troops as the crisis. There are a lot of people pounding the table for war, and until we have the transfer of power in January, we're going to be on extra prickly red alert here, because guys like Lindsey Graham want war always, and they'll do anything they can to get it. All right, scary times out there in World War III land. We'll hope that doesn't happen.